morning. I got wicked out of river. Did I not? It didn't wick that high. Damn, it didn't wick on Blofin, but it wicks on Bybit. Yeah, my trade is still in profit. It just wicked out. It wicked massively on Bybit. Look at Binance is chilling, and go to Bybit. Look at that wick on Bybit. I'm in my stop and profit now anyway. Seems like everything just is slow today. My fucking Blofin is lagging. My phone is lagging. Morning, Tal. How's it going? So my stream's working. Yeah, it looks good. Hi, DJ, and good morning. Do you think Trump's speech will dump the market? When's he talking today? What's he talking about? Greenland and tariff? There's a lot of uncertainty in the market at the moment. That's the issue. Along with the uncertainty, you've also got obviously metals being that much safer asset for larger participants and boomers and stuff. People are flocking to, you know, gold and silver and things, and they're just up only, really. Have got some strong sell signals up here on gold, so potentially some call off for gold very soon. But we'll discuss all of that. So, giving remarks today at Greenland. Well, yeah, I mean, there's already a lot of uncertainty. I think no matter what, like, we're still gonna go for 87, sub 87k on BTC. Despite whether, you know, what he says is positive or not, I do believe that sort of sub 87 is always going to be on the cards. And maybe if what he says is you know, worse than what people anticipated, then we could go maybe as low as 84 if things got really ugly. The way we've sort of cut through 91 and 90k, I mean, the market is super weak right now. And the way we've sort of like diced back through this huge like range without next to no bounce is, you know, someone is offloading a decent amount. At least someone is. Obviously, we had that move up that was majority of sailor bidding, but I think the fact that we just cut through this range like butter is pretty concerning, and I believe that these lows are going to get targeted, and even more so a move under 84k, despite what he says, to be honest. Have I shorted AXS? I haven't shorted AXS yet, no. I would like a little bit higher on AXS. AXS chart. I want a little bit higher on AXS, maybe around 261, 261 all the way to like $3, really. Anywhere into this sort of region where you can see I have my alerts set, I think is a good place for an AXS reversal. Right now I'm not in it. Personally, I want a little bit higher for it. Would be that'd be great. Sorry, I just forgot to put, I'm doing a multi-stream for the first time, so I'm just checking everything is working okay. I'm live on both YouTube and Twitch, so it looks like it's working, and we can get properly into the stream. I mean, this is weak, man. Like the fact BTC bounced, right, and we couldn't even bounce into like the 90s, 91 is pretty telling. Like market's super weak right now. Definitely going for sub 87k as I was just discussing, and maybe even as low as 84k. There's a lot of uncertainty across the board right now. Higher time frame, like things are looking pretty shit at this point. Obviously, we had the stablecoin dominance, which is bouncing from this 8.6, 8.4% region, which historically has not been great. If we put the total market cap over the top of it, you can see, right, the past 2 times we've rejected from this area, total market cap has bottomed, and for the first time in basically like 2 years now, the total market, the stablecoin dominance is finding support here. So instead of bottoming, potentially consolidating before a breakout from the stablecoin dominance and a drop from total. So really important to see how we react around here. If we can react from that like 9 to 9.5% from the stablecoin dominance again, and BTC trades into sort of like 87 down to 84k, I think that's a really good opportunity for some swing longs. But when coins at all-time high, how do you know what levels to short? Do you use fibs? Because some people are shorting River. Yeah, so I'm also short on River, or I probably got stopped break even here. In fact, if we go to the Blofin chart, it's a bit easier to see because I didn't get stopped on Blofin because it didn't wick up as much. You can see my stop on Blofin was like 46.8. I got like a 4.5% move or something. Personally, I use like VWAPs. So shorting something like River when it's in price discovery is actually quite risky. One sec. Yeah, shorting something like River is actually quite risky, based on the fact that it's in price discovery. You have like super negative funding, and it's prone to squeezing, right? If we look at the Bybit chart, that's essentially what happened, right? It had a really gnarly squeeze. Someone got squeezed out on that wick, and if we look at the low side of things, we can see quite a large short got taken out. Huge drop off in open interest, and big liquidation and a spike. So there's a good chance someone got liquidated who was shorting River on Bybit. And that's often, you'll find that that's what happens with a lot of these coins with like super negative funding, is that they'll get these sort of like squeezes as such. So they're super risky shorting, which when I take the trade, it was low risk for that exact reason. But we survived on Blofin. Yep. So like my way of shorting on something like this is pretty risky. It's much better if when you have these like strong coins pumping, if you have like historical data, obviously, because at least it gives you something to work with from history, like value wise. If we take like Dusk, for example, we can see that the 2024 VWAP was around here, around 0.305. So that was actually a place I was looking to get short on Dusk, and it just got front run a bit, but that was a good setup with strong sell signals into that region, despite just getting front run of that VWAP a little bit. It's done like a 40% pullback, but obviously with values and prior values, we can try and estimate where price is going to go much easier, rather than something like River, which is in complete price discovery, and we don't have much, like we have nothing to like back check it with. So this is why these sort of higher these trades when prices in when coins are in trading price discovery are much more higher risk than something that's got a lot of historical data. So you know, from like a beginner's point of view, trying to scalp and trade these and short these coins that in price discovery, I would say to not do that really. There's like high risk in these, trying to short these. Also, you'll find that like for example, Dave said in order flow today, the group, so the spot to perp ratio, so it was like 29 mil spot and 2.5 bill perps, so it's heavily pushed up by perps. And you'll find that often these like coins that are getting scammed are suppliers is getting cornered, and often you don't really want to try and short something like this. I had a good trigger to short, so I did. But just because price is going up aggressively like this, it doesn't always mean that it can be close to a reversal. Especially like if we look at, we went through a period where often like the top performers of the day tend to be like the next day's top loser. But recently we've started to see coins hold their own. I mean, AXS, for example, this has been trending up for quite a while now. But essentially, since it sort of flipped back inside this prior yearly value, and we can see how it's now legged up to this prior yearly VWAP. So there's a time and a place, right, to short these coins. You just have to be really selective with shorting these big movers, and obviously don't be on the wrong side of the move, but that's easier said than done. But yeah, back to your question. I kind of went off tangent, but I use sort of like developing VWAP values, and like developing VWAP values can give you some sort of edge when price is in price discovery, especially the 2.5 to 3 standard deviation bands. These can often be very useful because they show you a level of overextension, and you can use like oscillators, right? Things like RSI, Z score, awesome oscillator, also known as AO. Like these oscillators often give you an indication where the price could be like very overextended or very undersold. Overextended in both directions. Can you take a look at Wolfite? Sure, I can have a look. I saw Tex was longing it today. Personally, I thought it looked like quite a nice short this morning, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to call it like I don't want to bud people out their trades. Do you get me? Like, if like someone posts something and I often think they're posing case, I just won't post about it really. I'm happy to talk about it here on stream. Do you have education about using VWAPs in Wolf Group? Or something I've used. I have a little bit of education on VWAPs for sure. I'll have to point you in the right direction. Russell, if you tag me in the order flow channel, I can point you in the right direction for some stuff. What's my going on my chat box? My chat box looks. Also I don't know, my bot is like spamming these shit. What's doing? Okay, let's look at Wi-Fi. Yes, I paid for that multi-stream today so I can stream on YouTube and on Twitch, so whichever's preferable for you guys to go and watch. Personally, I prefer watching on YouTube. Well, obviously Twitch is a bit of a streamer-friendly platform. Yeah, so personally, I think it's quite a difficult place here for WLFI. Bit of a tricky place actually. A nice short would be into around 0.773, I think. We're trading back within this prior weekly value, obviously. We look at the developing monthly value on the VWAP side of things, clearly in like sort of a ranging environment, but trading into the developing monthly VWAP here, also the prior quarterly value area high, which has clearly been a difficult place. Prices try to break above there, and yet we're falling back below. Had quite a nice buy signal on the 4 hour, but a bit late to chase that now. I mean, it was just a wick. Yeah, I don't have too much for it here. I actually think maybe you could look to long 0.1666. A move under here, under this low, could potentially be a nice place for a long. Down here. Could be a nice place for a sort of continuation long into 1666 with a target of that prior weekly VWAP, and if we flip there, then a good chance it's probably going to go into sort of 0.119. No, it's okay. It's flipped this prior weekly value area low here. So I think as long as it holds there, it is fine, and can probably see a move into the high sevens, really, maybe like a 4 to 7% move. The higher time frame definitely in a bit of a tricky spot. Needs to flip 1.7s on the higher time frame, and it can have a good breakout higher, I think. I think I've somehow, yeah, I was messing around with stream overlays. I think I've somehow put a stream overlay on. So I changed all my shit. You'd love to short around 92k. Yeah, 92k would be great for a short. Back towards this this POC of the composite range. I'm back up here, but you know, honestly, whether we get to short up there, I'm unsure. Price is pretty weak right now. Personally, I think we're probably going to go for this low here around 87k, and then accepting under sort of 87,600 for BTC, then we're almost confirmed that we're going to go for these lows at 85k and 84k. These lows I have marked back here. But for now, like, yeah, this is a great place to start looking for swing longs. I actually tried to long yesterday into this POC for a bounce, for a move back towards that prior week POC, and also the weekend gap, so the CME gap as people like to call it. But yeah, we just, as I was saying at the start of the stream, we just sort of cut through this area like butter. I had a really tight stop on that. Based on the fact that I expected the idea that if we would lose 91k, we would almost certainly go for 87. But the problem is it just bled as well, so I couldn't even like flip short fast enough, because like the PA is just like really aggressive. It's really difficult to try and get short on this sort of price action. Yeah, lots of stacked key values below into 85k. ETH done your parabola. I mean, if you have watched my streams recently, you know I would have been discussing the parabola on ETH, and unfortunately it played out while I was on holiday last week, so I didn't get the opportunity to get short on it. But really clean setup on ETH. Classic like breakdown bear market PA. Yeah. Bit of a random, but how do you develop a strategy and add confluence? Well, I would say the number one thing is like trial and error, right? like trial and error, going through the waves of trying different things out, and what you enjoy trading with or what you think works. For me, I've traded with a lot of different styles, like continuation styles, market structure, order flow, like, and throughout the years, like over 4 years now. Just, you kind of, as you go through different styles, like let's say you got like it's like all your styles, and as you go through different styles on the way, you might gradually take this is your system. And as you trial and error and you go through like different styles and different ways of trading and understanding markets, like you pick some parts to these different styles, and then over time it will just, ideally it will improve your system as such, right? I think the most important thing is that you never stop like developing, right? And you constantly try to improve on yourself and the way you're trading, and ideally over time this will help you improve your system. And there probably and will be a time where I'm completely happy with a system, but right now I'm still not 100% with it, really. And that's like 4.5 years in. Like, I still feel like there's more I can do to develop and be better, I think, really. But right now I have a nice, like, my system over time is obviously, now I feel very comfortable with the way to trade the market, and like my system is great, but I could definitely still improve it in some way. It really is just trial and error though, like learning what works with you, what works with the way you trade. Hopefully that helped. How do you pick the base of the system? When base is picked, do you have an Excel sheet of testing with different conferences? Then do you forward test? Well, yeah, you obviously, journaling is important in early days, like journaling a system, knowing what works and developing on that, and obviously picking up the parts that don't work, even more so than the ones that do work. I would say always, like, the foundation to trading is like understanding just simple market structure. I think that's really important. Like, simple market structure is more important than anything, right? And often, like, trading in a range is, you want to get familiar with trading in a range, and you'll find like markets more often than not are trading sort of 80% within a range, and 20% of the time is in like a trending market, right? So, or it's like 70-30. And range trading is the best because you just stick to your rules, but like, simple market structure will teach you very basic things, but often at the same time is one of the most powerful ways of trading, right? And this is a simple market structure, right? You have a range, right? And you have a deviation, right? And like, early days in my trading, I didn't really understand deviations, but deviations are like one of the most important things, and the simplistic ways of trading. And as well as, like, simplicity is often key. I think keeping things very simple is great. You see, like, people with thousands of indicators on their chart, when often I still believe that understanding just simple market structure and the way price trades around levels and price action, candlestick like patterns, swing failure patterns, deviations. These are like the most key ways of trading. And then like back testing, like using the replay tool is great. Obviously it's not ideal. Like I would say the best way of like back testing is actually like testing just on like a chat, like a small account, right? Trying to like trade a small account and like running up a smaller account. Like that's the best way of trading rather than back testing. I feel like actually trading, like back testing and like in replay mode and stuff is okay, but like actually trading and executing in real time is the best way of learning just like screen time, right? But backtesting is equally good. I haven't backtested in a while. Yeah, of course. And if like you have any other questions, you can. Hopefully, I explained it this way. Like it's really like at the end of the day down to you, like develop a strategy. All right, let's take a look at some altcoins. See what we're working with. I just got an alert for something. It's MXY. Man, these all of these coins, they're like, it's just the same shitters pumping. Like they always pump in unison and then they'll die and then they'll pump again. Like MYX and ARC, XCN, Pippin, like just these dog shit, like scam coins. Hi Ted, how's it going? How's it going, Ted? Long type. Let's look. Hype is back sub 21. Shit. Fuck, I thought I just ended my stream then. Alright, let's take a look at hype. Sorry, I was faffing with some stuff. We're getting some buy signals down here, in fact, so not bad. Yeah, fully filled that 10-10 wick. Not to fudge you, but yeah, I mean, I think it could go sub 20. It's not a bad spot for a bounce here. Like daily's given a buy signal on the yearly view, obviously similar to what it done early last year. Oh, I do want to talk about my bullish my bull-tard case actually. I'm always whipping up a bull-tard case, but I'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah, it's forming a nice divergence down here on the 4 hour. Daily's pretty oversold. Weekly is kind of diverging as well. Yeah, I mean, I would probably try and time this with the BTC bottom under sort of 87k, personally. But it's not a bad spot for a bounce here, really. It could be worse, but I think it could go to sub 20 into the 19s/18s before bottoming. $3 mil hype unlocks today. All right. Yeah, it's not bad. It's forming a nice divergence down here on multiple time frames. But yeah, for me, I would like it to be a little bit more overextended. You know, we got that prior yearly value area low here into just under $20. I think if I get a good buy signal into there, that could be good. But the trend's aggressive right now because we are trading within this minus 2.5 to 3 standard deviation. But there's buy signals, so. And it's overextended. All right, here's my bull-tard case that we could see fresh all-time highs on BTC in Q1. But obviously, like with everything, I always say that real-world events and economy will always have far greater impact on your technical analysis, right? Like news events and the way the market trades. Is always well overpowering of what your lines will tell you on a chart, right? Oh, James is here. James is here just in time for my my Bulltard post and take. All right, so obviously you guys watch my streams a lot. You remember this trend-based FID time tool. Essentially, what we do is we can map out essentially the period where the cycle is going to top, right? Using prior cycles, using like time-based fibs, we can always tell that when and where the market is gonna top, right? So what we do, we map out the prior the bear market lows from 2 cycles ago, for example, the 2018 bear market lows. We map it out to the bull market highs of 2021 to then the current bear market lows of this current cycle, and then it gives us a period, and we can do that for every cycle essentially. What it gives us is a area where we can start to look at a couple of things: where the cycle is going to top, the period where the cycle is going to top, and equally where the cycle is going to pull back, because we can see every time we move into this 1 to 1382, we get a pullback, right? And this is where it gets interesting, because following the pullback in all previous cycles, we've then gone on to rally to a new all-time high. Obviously, we're yet to do that in this current cycle, and depending on like macro outcomes and tariffs and stuff, I think is going to be heavily dependent on this, and also if we look at like, obviously more than ever we are very weak against gold, right? But in 2021 we equally done a pullback, quite a heavy pullback against gold, from 34 all the way down to 19. Obviously this time around was much deeper, around 37 all the way down to now 18. But these pullbacks lasted, in this case, this lasted for 90 days. Maybe we could be more specific, but you know, 60 to 90 days pullback before legging up. This case, it was only sort of like 1 month, so 30 days. Cycle before that was 60 to 90 days. Our current case from when we started to pull back is around 90 days, right? As of right now. Be more specific, but from the cycle high to the low, it was around like 50-60 days. Obviously the monthly can only show you in stacks of 30 days. Yo, how's it going, man? See ya. So yeah, like if we're calculating the fact that the low is already in, then you know, I believe that 87 to 84k could be a really nice opportunity, and then brings me back to the Bitcoin against gold chart, right? Which historically, you know, is now making fresh weekly lows, and like sort of by calculation, looking at previous cycles, we should bottom by around the end of Jan. If this chart is going to bottom, it should be round about the end of Jan, because if we look at previous bear markets for BTC against gold, they've lasted from around 360 to 400 days, so a year to just over a year. 2013 bear market, 2017, 2018 bear market, 364 days, 406 days, 378 days. As of right now, the current pullback, right, is around 406 days, so we could peak into the 400s. So like if we're gonna bottom on BTC and like rally in Q1, I believe that it's probably gonna happen over the next week and a bit. And if we don't, then we're probably in for quite a rough bear market. A rough bear market till the end of summer, really. So it's going to be interesting, actually. Important a couple weeks for the market. I think the window now for a chance at rallying in Q1 is very, very slim. It's going to obviously be very dependent on tariff outcomes and this Greenland situation scenario, and whether we start to see metals start to top soon, which, you know, we look at now, like, I am getting some sell signals for them up here for the first time in a while, especially on gold. Quite overextended up here. Gold pushing into now like just under 5k, and then silver into 95, which, like, realistically, if we're thinking logically, you know, a nice place for a reversal for gold and silver would be around like 5k and $100, right? $100 silver, 5k gold. So the idea that they could front run these areas could be nice, at least for a little pullback, and potentially that could give us some relief in that gold Bitcoin pair. But I'm not holding myself to the fact that this can bottom, just based on the fact that it's been getting obliterated. But if it is going to bottom, the window is now closing. I think we really want to see a bottom from the Bitcoin gold chart over the next week and a half, and if so, then we can see some nice outperformance from BTC again, probably pushing into that 100 to 102k plus region. So that's sort of my my bull take here, is that I do believe that if we're going to see fresh all-time high, or at least a push in Q1 this year, it's got to come. Like, we've got to start bottoming over the next week or so. I think the window for opportunity for a bottom is very slim. But, you know, if we look at previous cycles, at this point in every cycle in the past, we've pulled back and then gone on to make a fresh all-time high, right? We pulled back, gone on to make a fresh all-time high, pulled back, and then we went on to make a fresh all-time high, and again pulling back. You know, whether we make that fresh all-time high, I think, is going to be very dependent on how we react over the next week, and whether this Bitcoin gold pair can officially bottom, obviously. But, you know, look at the daily, getting a strong buy signal coming in on the daily. It's pretty insane, really. The weekly's diverging massively here on the Z score. That's what's actually really nice. We're still forming a huge divergence here on Bitcoin, right? We're almost forming like a 3 drive right now on the Bitcoin gold pair, right? So sort of like huge divergence here, and along with that, the monthly is, like, depending on the monthly close, could lock in a buy signal. Essentially, for the first time in history, the monthly could lock in a buy signal. If the Z score peaks down into -2, meanwhile we mitigate this developing yearly value area low, which we are currently doing, then it could print a buy signal, which is pretty insane. Obviously, look at the trend right now. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident that now we've essentially got 1 to 2 weeks. I'm personally looking to be a buyer on BTC for a swing trade over the next 1 to 2 weeks, with the target of selling 102k plus to all-time high in Q1. And I believe this is going to be the trade to take. I believe that if we are going to bottom now on the market, it's going to be over the next 1 to 2 weeks, and we can target 102k to fresh all-time high within Q1. If we don't show signs of a bottom in the next 1 to 2 weeks, then this idea is essentially thrown out the window. But I think it's getting crazy now, like to the point where if we go to sweep this 86k region, I think that can be our bottom. That can really be our bottom that I'm looking for, right? The bottom in terms of the higher time frame side of things and the Bitcoin gold side of things, especially with gold potentially topping. I mean, how much did that pull back? 76%. What are we on? 58%. So the drawdown. There's more drawdown available, obviously. The downside, but I think at least like a local bottom, it should bottom very soon in the Bitcoin gold side of things. Have you seen River? The level of crime on this coin is mind-blowing. Yeah, I actually shorted it for the group. In fact, I'm not actually sure whether people survived with me, because on Blofin, it didn't wick out. I managed to get out in break even. I got like a 4.5% move and then got stopped break even. But yeah, I don't think I'll be shorting this again anytime soon. When we start to print buy signals or sell signals consistently like this, and following these sort of signals, price just continues to go against that. Often it's a strong sign of strength. If we look at ETH from yesterday, I longed these strong buy signals right yesterday, right, and we can see even following these strong buy signals, price continued to bleed out, right. This is very telling of weakness. When my strong buy signals literally need to next to no bounce, it's a very strong sign of it in strength in the trend, right? So buy signals failing often means there's strength in the downside trend, and sell signals failing obviously means there's strength in the upside trend. NYX setting off more alerts. Maybe this could be a short. Trend's pretty strong. I think maybe if we get a little deviation below this minus 2. This 2. Plus 2.5 standard deviation, we could take a short for reversal. I don't know what the volume's like on this coin though. Looks like it's pretty low. Look. Can I go over ETH? Yeah. I'll have a look at ETH in a sec. X. Volume 14 mil volume on the one. 1 hour of 3.5 mil volume, but I don't know what on exchange that is. That might be just total volume, which is pretty low, really. 3 mil volume in the 1 hour. It's not great. Potentially take a small short on it though. I could try it on my scalp account. If we get a break below here, maybe like a short, just take a stop off the high, targeting something like that. Would be a potential trade sell. Use smaller size, but go over ETH. Yeah, ETH is you can see it's starting to give me some buy signals down here on the the yearly, the quarterly, and the monthly value bands are all currently equal. Because they're all like fresh developing this month. Yeah, we're struggling to on ETH. We're struggling to get back above the 2024 VWAP and the 2025 VWAP. We can see tough deviation there. Trading back below the last year's Q4 value area low and the prime monthly value area low. I think a nice long for it would be a sub 2700, probably a sweep of these lows, sort of like tying in a sweep into 86k with BTC. See, we're in range, so that would just be a range low bounce as well, right? Into here, good spot to be a buyer, just standard range low play. Yeah, if we continue to form some sort of like buy signals and divergence into 2700, I think that's a really nice place to be a buyer on ETH. And shorts back towards 3200 if we get an opportunity for that. 3150 to 3200 looks like a nice place for an ETH short. It's just in range right now. I wouldn't overthink ETH. For the higher time frame, for a big breakout, it needs to flip 36 to 3500. If ETH can flip there, then it probably breaks out to like into the 4Ks. Equally, breaking below 2700, 2500, then this is going on to leg lower, probably backfilling a lot of this imbalance. But for now, play the range, right? Or the breakouts either side here. But I wouldn't worry about these scenarios just yet. I'm personally looking for a long into sort of sub 2800 on ETH and tying that in with BTC sweeping 87k. How's the flow? New York Open in an hour and a half. Yeah, still think this is the best place for a long into 87k right now. Start looking for triggers 87 down to 84k. Might even set some scaled bids on spot for Bitcoin, to be honest. Yeah, in hindsight yesterday, that was kind of the short to take when we lost the pot and rejected from it. Oh, I was blindsided. I thought we would bounce here on the higher time frame, really. X. Diverging nicely as well. The only downside to trying to short this is the daily is not that overextended. $4 okay. Daily is not great, but fine. It doesn't mean that we can't scalp it. All right, let's see how this 5-minute closes. Potentially take a short with a stop above the high. Be around an 8% target, sub 5.8 target for the short. Down towards that weekly view up. Developing on view up as well. Pretty low volume at any downside. How long we've been on? Hour and 15. Obviously, if you guys have any chart requests, you can send them in. TRX. Shock. Game shock. I think I shared that on Monday with you. That was a buy signal. Got a nice bounce off that, to be fair. Well, 2%, but... It was a nice short. I missed some nice shorts, man, last week. Prior yearly value are high, prior quarterly value are high, and some strong sell signals coming in. This brings me back to what I was saying at the start of the stream about like these buy signals work especially well into like key values, like when we're trading something like River, when there's no historical data to work with. It's difficult. It's often difficult for us to take a short, like they're high risk. But when you got something like TRX, strong buy signals into sell signals into like key values, then it's great. Can't say it's looking too hot here. Broken the prior quarterly VWAP. Trading under the prior weekly value area low. Gnarly. Staircase up, elevator down, essentially. I don't have much for it, James, I'm not gonna lie. Let me just look at the standard chart without VOPs on it. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty clean rejection, really, wasn't it? Is it not a big falling wedge breakout retest? What are you talking about, brother? You want me to draw some big trend lines to back up your trade? Okay. There's your wedge. I think if you got 28 again, 0.28, that would probably be a good bid. it needs to flip 0.32 and it could probably give a good breakout higher. Until then, just chop C. Chop C in here. A yearly value. Yeah, I reckon you could look to long 0.28 on it, honestly. If it doesn't hold 0.28, it's probably topped. Going down to like 2.4. So I'd keep an eye on that. I think we'll be lucky if we can if we'd be able to pop into 91s at this point. Personally, I think shorting into 89.2 could be good today. $89.2, like with a target of target of these lows. Obviously, you're gonna slow down here. Swept this ball out. That one already. Fucking hell. Spirix is getting cooked as well. Yeah, I mean, if we don't, I honestly think if we don't bottom over the next week and a bit, we're in for a pretty grueling bear market till the end of summer, where we see like a big cleanse, and a lot of these coins just getting like blasted down to zero. Like we need like a big cleanse of the market. And Litecoin's pretty insane. Well, even if BTC goes up, do you know what I mean? Like, I can see a lot of altcoins not actually like performing that well. I mean, like BTC went to 98k while I was on holiday last week, and some coins didn't budge really. Like, some coins barely moved. I suppose it sounds as what exact's been needed for about 6 months. James, is what's been needed for about a year since fucking Trump launched his meme, honestly. Like, the fact that October, like, the fact that 10/10, like, wasn't enough and the market has just been, like, hooked since then, it's just fairly obvious that we need, like, a big cleanse across the board still. Like, at least for me as well, like, I'm day trading alts, but I've discussed it a lot, but I don't remember the last time I've like looked at an altcoin, right, and gone, I actually want to hold this for like more than like a week and a half or a day even. Like, it's very rarely now of like I buy a coin based off fundamentals, because like really in this like in this current environment, like fundamentals don't mean shit. Everything is just like, I think just everything that launches is just going to zero, bar a few very small things. Like, and now you've got the NYSE potentially launching 24/7 trading on ETFs and things like that, and it's just like it is a killer, right? All right, let's see if MYX closes down here. We could potentially take a short on it. It's a real shame. Yeah, the market's just not what it used to be, but like in terms of like day trading, it's been fine, really. But like from an investor's standpoint in crypto, like it's been a while, like since I wanted to buy spot in altcoins. Like I've been bearish alts for like 1.5 years now, I would say, really. Maybe not that long. But like since sort of like February 2025, about a year, I've been pretty bearish on alts, and like haven't been interested in really like buying them, and in fact 1010 was the sort of the green light for me. Like I was waiting for something like 1010 to be like a significant buyer in alts, and like I waited for them to show signs of strength, right? Or I waited for them to recover or lock in some sort of trend, like following 1010. Like we had those crazy crashes, right? And I was waiting for like something to give me a sign, right? Like some coins to do something like this and really lock in a trend based off 1010, and they just didn't. Like coins just instantly started to do this. With even now on hype, like 10, like since backfilling that 1010 wick. Like I didn't manage to catch the lows on anything really, which if I did, I like sure they would have been good bounces, but I probably would have sold the bounces. But the problem is that even since 1010, even since all that liquidation, that huge wipe and cleanse we had, there was no interest in the market, and that was another big red flag for me, and why I haven't been like interested in scaling into alts, and just more so like BTC. I've just been also concentrating on BTC. Well, this is a bit awkward now on MYX, because that was a really aggressive 5-minute candle, and it now gives us quite an awkward invalidation. Take a position. Maybe if we can get a little pop up, we can short with a target of 5.8, but it's a little bit awkward now to jump into. It's kind of, the trade's gone, unfortunately. We just needed a fight. I just needed a 5-minute close below this prior weekly value arrow high, but obviously really aggressive 5-minute close. So now I'm kind of, it's probably just going to go without me. It's annoying. Need to zero a lot of the market or make projects fail. Yeah, essentially, like still such a heavily oversaturated market. Yeah, this isn't going to give us a bounce to get filled on it, is it? So it's an unfortunate move. All right, so we'll see if there's anything else to take. It's kind of the trade I was looking for today, but So I'm really tempted to try a breakout long on this ARC coin. I feel like it has, not necessarily feel, but like it looks like it has decent scam potential. A very low volume above, managed to flip above this prior yearly VWAP. Any downside is that it's formed quite a nice divergence here on the Z score. I was initially looking for a short into this area, but it's holding. I didn't get any triggers on the weekly VWAP. Gave quite a nice bounce overnight, actually. The lows. What's the flow look on it? Funding, it's okay. Probably wait. Try and chase a position. Right here it's a little bit awkward. Margin Phi? Oh, you mean on my yeah, I think I was trying to farm like an airdrop, but I don't think it ended up doing one. Or it did and it was just dog shit. I can't remember. Remember those days? Yeah, the good days of crypto this cycle. So sub 130 again. Maybe an opportunity for a long soon. Sweep into 123 on Sol could be a nice place for a long. 120, 123, 120 on Sol. You lended your whiff to borrow USD Gamba in the casino. Damn. You cashed out in time. Yeah, those sites where you like borrow and lend money are like watch, really, aren't they? don't have so much else today, really. I don't have too many other sell or buy signals. Well, I do have some buy signals, but I'm not that convinced in them this week, unfortunately, based off how they were reacting yesterday. Had some late last night, but like I want a bit lower on the majority of the market, like with BTC around about 3 to 4% lower, 3 to 5% lower. ETH ideally around, yeah, I get a similar thing around about 5% lower. And with that, I think we should get some nice wicks on alts to try and catch, like Sol into sub 123. BCH, this has been pretty strong. BCH, I want to kind of long into 540, 550, 540. I think is a really nice place for a BCH long. Might get some strong buy signals on the daily very soon. I want to buy into 550, 540 on BCH. I'm actually going to set some alerts for that. But this daily is also almost oversold enough, which would be nice. This looks pretty good on the high time frame. I think BCH, as long as we can hold 550, I'm expecting a move into like 740s, even as high as 1000 over Q1, as long as we get that bottom that I discussed on. Your first cycle. What a shit first cycle. Actually, I think it's good to have this as your first cycle, because having 2021 as my having 2021 as my first cycle really like skewed standards of a market for me, and how markets trade. Like 2021 really threw me off. Like really thought I was a genius, Also that, and just made some like stupid decisions at the end of 2021, which if I had now, I wouldn't make those same decisions. But it's all a learning curve, really. You promised the super cycle. We're still in the super cycle, bro. Might call that a stream here though, and have some lunch before New York Open. Pretty slow market right now. I'm not seeing too many trades to take. Things are pretty flat. Like I think because Trump's speaking today, potentially just a little bit of waiting around. I'll do one final sweep of top performers and see if there's anything fresh to take, but these are the wicks I want to try. Yeah, overall, like to summarize, sort of looking for a big ISP. How's it going, bro? I'm just wrapping up, unfortunately, but the stream's on YouTube and also on my Twitch if you want to go back and watch it. But yeah, essentially, I think the market should bottom at a local bottom over the next 1 to 2 weeks for a chance at rallying in Q1. Otherwise, I think we're in for a pretty grueling bear market till the end of summer. Good signs of reversals starting to come, especially in terms of the Bitcoin gold chart, like forming this big weekly divergence right now. Redrive into this 2024 value area high area. Big divergence. Monthly is the most oversold it's ever been in terms of this chart. You know, I think it looks nice very soon. So personally, going to be looking to scale into BTC spot around 87 down to 84k for a target of 102k plus Q1. If we don't get that set up, then yeah, it's gonna be rough. Gonna continue to try and short a lot of these top gainers. I think they're offering some good reversals as of right now. I don't think the moves on some of these scam coins sustain, so that's my plan. Really, yeah, for now, if we get a pop up into 90k's on BTC, I think that's a good short with a target of 86, 84, 80k. Essentially a pop anywhere, a pop into here. I'm looking to short towards these lows now. Yeah, that's going to do it for this week's stream. And better turnout than in recent weeks. So yeah, appreciate it if you stop by. We'll be live again next Wednesday. And obviously you can join the Discord where I'm streaming most days and posting trades and stuff. See you guys.